Hi, it is Kat from My Happy Insides, and today I want to talk to you about how one seemingly simple thing, like struggling to wake up in the morning, can actually have multiple reasons underneath it. And it's different from person to person. But I'm also going to show you today why it's possible you might be wasting your energy focusing on the wrong solution. And we're going to use this example of trying to get up in the morning. So let's say that you want to write a book and you decide, I'm going to wake up 1 hour earlier every morning in order to work on this book. It's an important goal. It's this aspiration you've had for a while, and it really matters to you. And you know, but by looking at your day, that some quiet time in the morning is the best way to do it. But it's not happening. You're struggling to wake up in the morning, even though the goal matters. So the first thing that people often do is they look at the problem. And on the surface, maybe you're just not getting enough sleep. You're having trouble getting up in the morning because you're not going to bed early enough. And you might start looking at sleep hacks. Maybe it's the temperature of your room. Maybe you need to get some blackout curtains, stop drinking caffeine after noon. All of these things we can do to support our sleep, they are worthwhile, and it's possible that that is actually enough. Maybe by doing that, you can actually solve your problem and you start getting up in the morning. But often it's not actually about the sleep. There's something else that's going on, and it can look so different from person to person. So I'm going to share 4 different underlying motivations that might actually be the culprit and why you're hitting snooze instead of getting up and working on your goal. So the first one that people experience is a loss of control. So the loss of control is when you feel like by waking up and getting out of bed, you kind of feel like the day is no longer yours. It sort of hands over to all these responsibilities that you have, whether that is to your boss or to your family or people that you have to take care of. So there are these responsibilities, and even if they're responsibilities you willingly chose, it means that by getting out of bed, you sort of handed yourself over to the fate of the day. At least this is what people perceive. So by protecting that morning and staying in bed a little longer and hitting snooze, you feel like you can maintain a little bit of control. So that's one example of why a person might actually be struggling to get out of bed to reach their goal. Now, the second example is feeling like I'm going to have to give something up and I'm going to have to sacrifice something that's important to me, because you might not be able to move certain things in your day, whether that's a commitment to your job or your children or maybe taking care of parents. Whatever the responsibility is, it means that each day we only have this limited number of hours that are truly our own. And maybe you are using that time to unwind, to relax, to take care of yourself. And so the idea of having to sacrifice this time, it puts up a big barrier, because while your goal to write the book is important, you also want to protect that other time. So now you've got this competition of how you're going to spend your precious time. Now, another reason that a person might be actually struggling to get up in the morning might be a fear of failure. Not failing to get up, but failing to do the project that they want to work on. So in this example of a book, what if I spend all these morning hours putting together this book and it kind of sucks? It's a failure, it's a flop. That's a genuine fear that a lot of people have, especially if they're taking on something that is new and something that is unknown or uncharted territory. Heck, even if we are repeating something, there's still this potential fear of failure that's going to happen. And so by staying in bed and not working on that book, you're sort of protecting yourself from ever experiencing this failure. Now, on the flip side, we actually have a fear of success. So this is when we think, what happens if it works? What if I actually get up every day, I work on this project, and it works? I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I can actually manage what happens if it goes well. And we also have this real fear of doing something completely unknown or foreign to us. We would often rather stay comfortable with the known, even if it's not good for us, than to brave the unknown. And so for a lot of people, even if it seems backwards, they might be afraid of succeeding and what that looks like. Now, the reason that I am sharing all of these examples is to showcase that, first of all, the thing that we often focus on most is usually just scratching the surface. It's important to look at the practical impacts of, okay, how do I actually make sure I'm rested so I can get up earlier? But under the surface, there are so many potential hidden barriers that are keeping us from pursuing the things that matter to us. And so when you understand that, you can start to ask the right question. So when you only focus on something like sleep hacks, it's sort of like putting your foot on the gas and just pressing harder and just exerting more and more energy. And the engine is revving and you're kind of wondering, why am I not going further or faster? What is happening? When you actually start to dig and ask yourself, what are maybe some of these underlying hidden fears that might be holding me back? That is like removing the foot off of the brake. And when you can lift your foot off the brake by addressing those barriers that are hidden, all of a sudden you barely have to tap on the gas in order to move forward. And that is really freeing. But the only way you can do that is to figure out what is going on. Why is my foot on the brake? It's a really important question, and it's often one that gets overlooked. So I want to make sure that you are not wasting energy trying to push on the gas harder and not take a look at why my foot is on the brake. And I want to point out that for everybody, it can be completely different. So one seemingly simple challenge, like struggling to get up in the morning, might look different for all sorts of people. And so you need to identify what that is for you. But once you do that, it can be a truly wonderful thing, and you can start to achieve the things that matter to you.